What's up, everybody? Sorry for being a few minutes late. Took us a little bit to get the dinner done today. Aha. How is everybody doing today? All right, What was for dinner? We had chicken schnitzel. Chicken schnitzel, or as they call here in America, basically like fried chicken. It was delicious. I made a chicken salad. And then everybody else had chicken and fries. Oh, it's delicious. Let's cook homemade. Excuse me. Woo. So of course it's very delicious, very delicious. But we did get a little bit late. Homemade mac and cheese, banging. I like it. All right, hang on. I gotta check something out. What do we got here so far? I gotta get everything set up still. Still working. What do we got? We got a few people here. You know what?
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Balbaran Fae.
Oh, cheese sauce. Nice. Very nice. Hey, silly 88. There's my little one. That's my mini-me. Everybody. Ooh, man. Speaking of buttons. Who's got the buttons? What is that? Well, that's our dinner list. Ha. Oh. Well, I know we're still waiting for a few more people to get here, but while we're waiting, I have something special.
The mail's here. Let's go.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Here's the mail. It never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail.
I 100% invited Rob to Sunday brunch. Oh, sweet. Heck yeah. Mail time. We haven't done this one in a while.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from.
It's from DW. That's who it was from. This is from DW. That's why I can't show it back. So, but yes, this is a super cool sticker. I'm gonna bring it all the way. See if everybody can see that. If not, two angels and a fey prince walk into a dungeon. You know where that one's going. Ah, that is epic as hell. So we're gonna put that right there for now, and then we're gonna add that one to the Kindle cover later because that's my favorite. So that's epic. Did y'all? Okay. We're still waiting for people to get here. But yeah, I see we talk about them. Can y'all believe who? Where did my wrist pad? Can y'all believe who started following us, y'all? Can you believe that shit? Can you believe that shit? Shh, wild. Hey, Sean, what's up, buddy? Hey, it's Sean. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Ha ha ha. We do. We have Roddick's seal of approval. That is so friggin' epic, dude. His video's been coming up on my page. I've been watching and liking all those videos. Dude seems so legit. It is so cool. So cool. Never did I ever expect to see that. You know what I mean? What's on the agenda today? We're gonna wait for a few more people to show up, and then we're just gonna jump into Road and Bones 6 through 10. That's the plan. That, as far as I know, that's the plan. Excuse me. I made some adjustments to a couple of our favorite buttons. Ooh, speaking of that, we can let's get rid of the admin stuff while we're starting here. Vega's here, right? I swore Vega's here. Yeah. I saw Vega. Vega's here. Vega. All right, Vega. Vega said she loved the power of the buttons so much. Baby girl, I told you your little transition thing that you made me, you had to send it to me on email and not text because the file wasn't big enough, remember? So once you send me that proper file, I will show them the awesome book transition thingy that you made me. Oh, yeah. So, all right, but we'll have to do it next time, love. Okay, so Vega, who she can't wait to have the power again. Okay, is I don't even think P's here yet. We're still waiting for P, aren't we? But who are we giving the power of the button to tonight? That is the true question. Yes, Belle. Yes, I understand the assignment. I believe. I believe. I'm with it. Oh, please, God, not. What is happening? What's wrong, Emily? What do you mean? What is happening, Emily? Oh, what is happening? Oh, P has been passed to the button. We've passed the button. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Does P accept thine buttons? Wait, has P already been the button pusher? I don't think P's been the button pusher yet. Has she? Who have we had as the button pushers? I need to make a list. She said, I don't want the buttons. I may be poisoned by Star. Oh, no. No, I've avoided it the whole time. She said no. She said no. Emily, you have bad Starbucks? Really? Yeah, so we've had DW, Q, and then Vega was the last one. Vega was the last one. Yep. QP. Has P? Has P done? Okay, so P's taking the buttons. I had a refresher, which I don't. Oh, okay. Well, you shouldn't do that then. Now you got the bubble guts. That's not good for you. That's not good for you. All right, P has accepted. All right, I think I got it from P. The memory didn't go too well. Okay, he said so. All right, so this is we're gonna add a little change to the buttons. I think I have a good little. I think we can motivate y'all a little bit. I'm gonna help try to motivate y'all some. Okay, so this is my thought process, right? I'm still gonna do the regular, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, right? And that'll still earn you a button push. But like when we start doing the chapters, you'll get the button push, and then I'm gonna make the super goal, right? And if you hit the super goal, y'all can pick exactly which button you want. And just so you know, look, we even made a little legend of all the buttons. So you'll get a rando button that you can pick until you figure it out. Or if you hit the super goal, you can pick an automatic button. Do we like that idea? How's that idea? We think we might try that one. I don't know. Rune just stopped by, so I apologize in advance. All right. They talk about suing Starbucks. I like it. Girl, nothing can be worse than me not knowing. Button 8. He said, I didn't know there were 8 buttons. Okay. I will say this much though. What did y'all name the I don't know if I can say that. Yeah, that one. The female version of what P just said, I added a few more pictures there. So it's a little more picture. So it'll be fun. So to the cherry pies, I think that's what we're calling them, the cherries. Yeah, to the cherries. Fire carpet for family friendly. The cherries and the fire carpets. Or is it the fire carpets and the chair? How y'all are so wild. Y'all are truly wild. It's truly amazing. All right, so button rules, just to make sure everybody understands the button rules. One more again. A Delphi carpet matches the drapes. Yes, fire carpets. Okay, so for every, it goes 5, 10, 15, 20. You earn one button per. And then once I start reading, we're going to give out a big a big goal. And if you get the big goal, you can either, I tell you what, we'll do 2 goals. Y'all want to do 2 goals? We'll do like a pretty reasonable goal, like say 15. And then you'll get 2 button choices if you want. If you can get like double the goal, y'all want to say y'all get a full tour? How are we doing that? See what I'm saying? I'm trying to get y'all motivated for some finger exercises. Shark Boys and Lava Girls is wild. That's funny. This feels like bribing. Maybe just a little bit. Where? I didn't see her join. Where is she at? Where? I don't see her yet. No. I do not see her here yet. I have not seen her. So, yes, if everybody doesn't know, her name is Nika. We are calling her Nika. Monica's name is Nika. If everybody didn't know that, okay? I think I'm gonna make her a button. It's Nika. That's my girl. Anyway, okay. So, question to P. I'm thinking I will. I gotta figure out how to do it because I don't want to just like all of a sudden just pop her face up there. You know what I'm saying? So we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But we're gonna do something special for her. But so far, okay, since P, this is your series. How was my first 5 videos today? Was I okay? Was I on the spot? Was I good to go? You're putting on my buttons, babe. Oh, cool. Heck yeah. Okay, just remember, we won't be here this Sunday, though. Not this Sunday. Let you in, I'm coming. There we go. Oh, it says server error. Try again.
Hi, everybody.
There we go. You should be good.
Hey, thank you for letting me in. It was a lot to type.
I gotcha.
I have to pay attention because now I'm the button monitor. Give me a solid and let me know which one is the fire cross button now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know which one is that. Is that the boys or the girls? I don't know. See what I'm saying? I don't know which one's which. I can't answer the question. Y'all haven't officially said it since we have both varieties now. Yeah, 6, 7, 6, 7. Y'all are wild. A fire carpet ride? That's funny. Okay, good. I was going to make sure I was on point. No, I don't know if we want that. Hopefully everybody will like them. I'm telling you. And it's trying to figure out like, okay, the insides are on the out. I don't know, man, you're going to put my mind to work on saying some things. It's interesting. Okay. Okay. I'm excited. Oh, the little doggy. Look at the little doggy butt. Thank you for the doggy butt. Little corgi.
I know a couple people have run it already, so I'm trying to think, is there anything that I should let you know beforehand? Any important
No, listen, we're raw dogging the names. We're raw dogging the names like bad decisions on a Friday night when we're in our 20s, okay? It's happening. Hey, thanks, brother. Right, exactly. Yeah, as if there's like a major character that everybody's too beloved, we can't butcher the name, then we'll make sure. But otherwise, listen, we're just exactly bad decisions on a Friday night in our 20s. We're raw dogging it. Knock on wood. I see it now. Yeah. I see it now. Right? No, believe it or not, she didn't. I think she just she was that the one she made or the one she oh no, she received that one. Yeah. So it's just foreshadow. It's just it's what do you call it? What is it? Karma, the world? I'm not sure, but it's meant to be. We did? We met them? They just walked through in the forest, right? Oh, Q just met them. Gotcha. Okay. Q just met them. All right. That's funny. That's all right. I'm staying out of the chat. Y'all can have your chats down there. I go to all the other ones but that one just in case. So you're good. It is an off limits area. So all right. All right. Do we so nobody's seen Nika yet, right? All right. Oh, you got to 5K? All right. Who's your first button? I'll let you call it live. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Really? On the first try. Look at that. Dang. All right. She said it's 8 and that's it. Touche. Hey, I'm telling you, everybody, y'all better hit them super goals if you want to get the tours. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at the gingers all night long. Here, I'll tell you what. Here's one.
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Balbaran Fae.
There you go. What? Oh no.
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Balbaran Fae.
You know, I'm telling you, I wonder how long I could do a stream where I just sat there and just continuously pushed the buttons over and over until y'all would get bored. How long would that stream last? We're going to do it. One day we're going to hold a button stream and we're just going to talk and push buttons. Just all the buttons. All the buttons for all the buttons. That'll be great. Okay. Whew. Thank you, my friend. I think we're ready. Is everybody ready? All right. The button challenge. Yes. Button challenge. Okay. I'll have to make more buttons too. Well, just because I still haven't used all the pictures yet. I'll just have to make buttons with all the pictures because there's still so many. There's still so many I'm going through, but we'll get there. All right. Thank you. Editing my magic cards and listening. Okay. I like it. All right. I got you. Here we go. All right, folks. Are we ready? He said, why are we editing your... What do you mean editing magic cards? How are you editing, like, on live? Online? Or are you putting them in new sleeves? Hey, Carissa's back. Are you back from the islands? Are you back from the vacations? All right. All right. All right. Hang on. Ugh, I gotta stretch out here. All right. Okay, so we left off yesterday. All right. Let me make sure. Sure, I'm back. All right. Welcome back. I'm glad you made it back home. I'm glad you made it back home and had a very safe trip and hope you had a good time. All right. So, quick review. We met Scylla. We watched get rid of some witches. And then Tolvik opened his mouth, and they said, no tongue for you, and then said, no insides for you. And then she said, I got to go. And then she went and had some tea, and then met the stable dude, and then had a conversation. And then Thomas, who's not her dad, but is her dad, said, we got to go to Copa. And then big old fight, not okay. And now she's running, and she changes her medication in the middle of the woods. And a grim wolf saved her, and now she's decided she's going to Rakeford, and she's walking, and she's not stopping until she gets there. Okay, that's where we're at. All right, that's where we are at. So, anybody who's new, welcome. I'm Wise, and we are on the Road of Bones from the Ashen Series, chapter 6 through 10. All right, hope you enjoy it. You ready? You're in for a while because if this shit happens like it did yesterday, I tell you what, I think there might already be more unalive people in the first 5 chapters of this than the movie John Wick. I'm just saying. All right, here we go. Chapter 6, Rakeford. What the fuck kind of word do we got here? All right. Skirrid Hoff. All right, Skirrid. Yeah, we'll figure that name out. Hoff had been watching her prey for the better part of an hour, seated on the opposite end of the long table. She kept her gaze trained on the fire flicking in the nearby hearth, watching the warrior from the corner of her eye. The mead hall in Rakeford had grown busy as the hours progressed, and gaps on the benches filled as patrons took their seats and drank a horn of ale. Where are your companions, warrior? Was what? I'm fucking okay. Ski. We're gonna call you Skeet for now. Skadre, Grady, Scray. I'm gonna come. Okay, Scray wondered. We're friggin' this out. Roxy, what's up? We are reading The Road of Bones, chapter 6. Just getting started. All right, Scrada wondered, all right, fucking names are going to be the death of me. All right, sipping from her clay cup. The honey, ooh, she got honey mead. That's a good shit. Tasted the mead spread across her tongue, helping to soothe her growing impatience. A month she's watched the warriors and her friends, and a month she's planned for today. Hindrum cuff sat heavy in her pocket, and with the twitch of her hand, men positioned each corner of the mead hall would descend upon the warrior and his friends. Turning her head slightly, Skadra gazed at the man between the copper braids spilling over her shoulder. He was large, the steel skin cloak wrapped around him only adding to his bulk. Black hair knotted at his crown, the man leaning on the long table, glowering in his cup of ale. Outwardly, he was a fearsome warrior, but she could sense a ribbon of angst undilating consistently from the man's aura. What have you to be nervous about, warrior? Skara asked softly. She strummed through the emotions like a string of a harp, tugging gently, so gently upon the threads of the angst. Even from a distance she could see the sweat dotting his brow. The warrior cast a look over his shoulder, hands tugging at his black beard. Someone grows worried. Nothing, Skedra. A slow smile creeping across her lips. She would have drawn him in already if it wasn't for these same three men he met weekly. Each spooling a similar thread of quivering angst, each without her soul. Sorry. Oop, hang on. I lost my page. Even without her soulser intuition, Skadre would have known the men hiding. Okay, so she like a witch or something? The others in the mead hall shared the kind of camaraderie which comes with many drunken nights spent together. But those four warriors, the black sheep of the family, keeping only to themselves. Because you hide your true nature, she thought, the Gladra had an emotional signature angst, mixed with fear and a touch of excitement. But the true test was when the clean air warrior walked past fear, looping brighter, revulsion weaving in. Where are your friends? When shall they join us? Glancing at the door of the mead hall, Skadra's inner irritation drove higher. Her gifts growing muted, she delved her hand into her pocket, thumb stroking along the smooth strands of Ilka's braid. The knots in Skadra's chest loosened slightly. Patience, sister, she imagined Ilka whispering in her ear. The rabbit comes easily to the clever wolf who waits. Ilka had been the twin with the patience. Skadri, on the other hand, was one with the ambition with Darling, the one who fearlessly took what she wanted. And when she laid eyes upon the four warriors the first time, Skadre had decided her sister was right. If she set her trap just right, the remaining patience, 4 fat rabbits would come directly to her. And then perhaps she could finally leave Reckford and return to the comforts of Sunavik. The very idea was like sunshine warming her insides. 3 months now she'd been in Reckford with its reek of fish and salt-tinged gales. It was fish and more fish here. And when it was not fresh fish, it was whale steaks and smoked herring and dried cod. I would not be a happy motherfucker up in this shit, because nope, I don't like fish. She'd eaten so much fish, Skadre would smell it on her skin. She yearned for lamb and rabbit and roasted boar served with juniper sauce, anything other than wretched fish. Iron hinges creaked as the door opened and the meat hall was pushed open. Flora Clinier strided in. I'm going to figure out this fucking name. Scradia. Scrada. Lock it in, Wise. Scrada. We're going with fucking Scrada. Fuck it. It might be wrong, but it's locked in. Scrada cursed under her breath as she sensed a fiery burst of fear from the Galdry warrior she's watching, twinning with repulsion. Her suspicions were confirmed, a man in Caldred indeed, but the miserable Clinair would ensure his friend did not join him. And if that's Ray, Scrada would bring them in all 4. We're going to get it, folks. We're going to fucking get it. Scrada could bring all 4. She needs to arrange the men she hired to return another day. That was, of course, if the Clanar didn't frighten the group of warriors off permanently. The boots of the king's claws thudded against the wooden floor of the mead hall as they rounded the long table and started towards the men. God's sacred ashes. Skadra. Ray. Like Harley Ray Gibson, right? Skadra. Seethed under her breath, the Clinier were going to ruin all her work. The warrior fear was now bright rope failing widely. Skadra drew it into her mind's grasp, drawing the heart of her Galdra Guldur and adding her soothing touch. Loosening his grip on the cup, the warrior let out a long exhale. Her brows frowned as the king's claws walked past the man without so much of a look in his direction. The leading Clinier's gaze fell onto her, and suddenly Skada. I'm gonna fucking get this name. Skreda fell. It's changing every time. Skreda fell like prey. Fighting the urge to flee, she forced herself to meet the man's cold, dark eyes. Her skin prickled at the dismiss of the emotions. The Cleanier were all like that, cold and unfeeling compared to the regular population. She suspected it was not by accident, but by design. The Burskum powder, which they took during the rite and monthly dose afterwards, not only enhanced their physical strength, but it altered a part of their mind. Hey, all right, mind-altering plants and stuff. That's always fun. Their emotions seemed diluted during the regular day, but Skreda had noticed this change during the episodes of battle and violence. Their anger and excitement enhanced fear and empathy smothered. Skreda clever tongue, said the leading king's claw, approaching, and with that, all eyes in the mead hall fell upon her, and her cover was ruined. Skreda ran a hand down her face with a heavy exhale, then turned her glare upon the Clenar. You've just ruined a month's work. Behind the Clenar, the black-haired warrior stood and made his way to the door. Skreda slammed her cup down upon the table, sloshing mead over the sides. Not only had he frightened off her mark, but he'd spoken the name she'd garnered from the Cleanier loud enough for all in the mead hall to hear. She could never return here again. Undeterred, the leading Cleanier produced a rolling parchment from his cloak, handing it to Skreda. You've a new assignment. Correspondence has come from Her Highness. Skreda snatched the scroll from the man, tearing it open, seal stamped with a wasp signal, and greedily read the words within. Skreda, a target has slipped us. We search for a woman of 20 winters with curly brown hair, a small scar in the corner of her eye. She may be traveling through Reckford. Meet Commander Thord's men on the bridge and look for anything unusual. She must be brought in at all cost. More information to come. I know you won't let me down. Signy. Frustration bubbled in Skreda's blood. A change after all these weeks of planning. All her hard work was scrapped just like that. And yet, the Queen's curved letter gave her pause. Brought in at all cost. More information to come. This was new. There was something here. Something out of the ordinary. And Her Highness called upon Skreda. There was opportunity to be had. Besides the fact that she would not let her queen down, the consequences of failure were too dire. Draining the rest of her mead, Skreda stood up. Take me to Thorid. Okay. So Skreda's a badass. She seems like a little badass, but why is she liking? I thought the queen was a bitch. And okay, so Skreda's gonna turn on the queen, right? Because I don't fuck this queen. I'm fucking this queen. Fuck the queen. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. Now, while I got a second, I want to make sure I say this right. Skreda. I'm gonna wait. Yes, okay, Skreda. Yeah, baby. Y'all got to 12K. Y'all get a button, and then we're gonna get a button for me saying the shit right. All right, Q. What's your 2 buttons? Holy crap, Skreda. I got it. I like it. What's your 2 buttons, friends? Woo! Nada? Yeah, Q, P. No buttons? You're saving your buttons? No, it's me. What? 1 and 7. 1 and 7. All right, we're going with a 1.
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Balbaran Fae.
And number 7. we go. There are your 2 buttons. 7. You didn't see? Okay, listen. Okay, this is the last time we're going to have this discussion. Okay, once again, let's pay attention. Ready? Pay attention. Are these, there's how many, Daddy? Really? Okay, we're going to show it again because apparently, here, let's show it again. Here are your buttons. There's 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 buttons. Okay, 8 buttons. Everybody get it? Okay. You sound like a bingo host on a cruise ship. B24. B24. All right. Does everybody see the buttons? Do we understanding? Whisper 7. Why would I want to hit? So that was 7. That was 7. Woo. All right. So, all right. I'm going to wait one more time. Hurry up and let's click it to 15K. Y'all are almost there. You're almost there. Let's hit the 15. We'll give you 1, and then we'll get the next chapter started. And then I'm going to give y'all a goal. Rune Dannon's Mate show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Rune Dannon's Mate. Hello, Rune Dannon's Mate. I hope your name is Lydia, because if not, we're going to have some serious... Rune, what is happening back there, Mike? I tell you what, Rune. I tell you what. Don't you cheat on... Boy, Rune, if you cheat on my Lydia, I swear to God, you'll go from number 1. Riddick will take your place, my guy. Welcome. All right. Okay, let's hit I'm going to give you your 15K button now, then we'll start reading. What is your 15K button there, P? What's your 15K button? And then we're going to get on to chapter 7. Yes, Q. Absolutely, Q. That would definitely happen, Q. I can't. Out. 2. I ain't gonna lie, you know that picture of Riddick at the end might be one of my favorite pictures. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Did y'all notice the pictures of Riddick? How he's having a good time? Do you notice that? Everybody else is being all, I'm serious and sultry. And then Riddick's having the good time. It freezes up. I bet it does freeze up. Hang on, let's check one more time to see if it freezes here. Maybe I have to check it out. Was it better that time? Was it better? Wait, are we being serious? Are we really freezing? Y'all just jagging with me? Now you're making me start to question myself. Because y'all are... Okay, TikTok is actually freezing? Okay. All right. Well... No, this is not bueno. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll sit here for a second to see if it fixes itself. What is happening here? What is happening? All right, here. We'll wait a few minutes. Yeah, we'll I tell you what. We'll do a button tour. We'll just do a button tour, and then we'll give it a few minutes, and we'll see what happens. Dang. Let's see.
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Balbaran Fae.
All right. I'm not going to put them in order, just so you know. I'm not doing these in order. I'm not putting them in order. Don't try to memorize them. I'm telling you now. Not the right order. Ooh. We try to cover all the bases here. We really do try to cover all the bases here.
I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby, but you keep frontin', saying what you gon' do to me, but I ain't seen nothing. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby, but you keep frontin', saying what you gon' do to me, but I ain't seen nothing.
Everybody loves the new songs, huh? Yeah, I told you we added some new ones. All right. So, there was the tour, and no, they were not in order. Do we look like the tiki-talkie has stabled out since we did that? Or is it still spotting in and out? Because if it's spotting in and out, I don't know if I want to keep going with you guys. It looks like it's stabled out. Okay. Whew, who knows? There's no issues on the UB-Tubi still. Okay. Well, then let's get doing it. We're going to get going. Anyone else on a black screen? Oh, no. No, Mickey, no. Shareable Spotify playlist. All right, I will make a playlist. You want a playlist of what I listen to? We'll talk about that when we're done at the end. Okay, we'll talk about a wise playlist at the end. Let's get on with the stories. Hey, let me know. Wise, I like it. All right, let me know if Nika shows up while we're reading this chapter. We don't know when she's going to show up, but when she does, let me know. All right, let's get into it. Okay, 25K is your next button push. If you get to 35K, we'll give you a tour. How about that one? 25 and 35. 25 and 35. Moving on. Chapter 7. The Road of Bones. Chapter 7. The Twisted Pinewoods. Ah, shit. We back in the woods again. On and on Scylla walked. Each hour like a blade twisting deeper inside her. Her blister stung. Her ankle throbbed. Even her hair seemed to ache for the love of the gods. But still she walked, stepping over the soft, uneven ground, one foot in front of the other, over and over with a singular goal of getting to Wreckford. Hours passed. Her energy flagged. Her mood grew somber. Scylla's mouth was dry. It felt grainy. She needed to find water. Jesse! And soon, rallying cry, Scylla. She she told herself quietly. On the bright side, you did not get eaten by a giant wolf. And though the thought of the grim wolf, at the thought of the grim wolf, Scylla cast a look over her shoulder. No flash of silver fur, no gleam of yellow eyes, no movement. The woods were still and silent. You are going to do this. You are going to make it to Wreckford. And bathe yourself clean, then wrap up in a blanket and eat sweet rolls before the fire. I'm hungry, moaned the girl from beside her. Scylla's own stomach complained loudly, but she ignored it. Then try not to think of food, she suggested. No, that's all I'll think of. Scylla was silent. Imagine if we had a sweet roll freshly baked in Jarl Gunner's clay oven and smeared with butter. Man, I just ate and you making me hungry, damn it! We love some bread in this family, I ain't gonna lie. Oven and smeared with butter, said the girl, clasping her hands together as she walked alongside Scylla. Oh, please, no, moaned Scylla. Or some hard cheese. Scylla ran a hand down her face. What is the point of you to what is the point of little ghost Blondie? We don't know your name. You can't play fucking scout. You don't tell her to take too much fucking room. You just sit there. What is your point, Blondie? I'm simply saying what we're both thinking. Oh my God, I do that enough for her. She doesn't need you. What about chicken and roasted? Oh my God, on a split, basted with butter and stuffed leeks and herbs. I'm not a leek fan, but okay. Oh, moaned the little girl. I might actually die for that. They played this torturous game for long that Scylla cared to admit. When she last saw the glint of steam, she ran, dropped to her knees, and scooped up the cold water between her palms. She drank desperately at first and continued until the sharp edges of hunger were dulled. I know what that's like, shit. Drink until you're full. After splashing in her face, Scylla pulled off her stockings and dipped her feet into the water. She sighed that the burn of her blister was dampened, but slowly the urgency came back. The feeling that she had stayed too long, but still wore her blue apron, dressed with Jarl Gunner's flower sigil. So Scylla quickly peeled off and changed into a clean clothing, a fresh linen underdress, and heavier wool apron dresses layered over it. Perhaps you should braid your hair, Scylla, suggests the little blonde. Why are we taking, okay, Ghost Girl, listen, Blondie, give me a fucking name or you need to, kick rocks and tell me what fucking make me hungry and tell me my hair look fucked up, suggests the little blonde girl dipping her toes into the stream. A good idea, replied Scylla, using her finger to pull the tangles from it. She needed to make herself as inconspicuous as possible. After securing her braids with leather ties, she pulled on fresh stockings, wincing as she squeezed her feet back into her boots. Pulling on her cloak, she hoisted the bag over her shoulder, clutched the hammer, and a hammer. I don't know if I would have taken a hammer as the weapon too. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe a little axe maybe would have been better, but a hammer, I don't know. The darkest hour of the night had passed and the sky was fading to gray. Before long, there were riders on the road, travelers on horseback, farmers hauling wagons. Scylla eyed the carts enviously. Surely, with so much traffic, she must be near Wreckford. She decided to chance the road, praying she could blend in amongst the other travelers along it. It was a clear morning, and the sun was soon warming her face as she dragged herself along the road. Wincing with each step, she was bone-weary, an exhaustion she had never felt before. She stumbled over the smallest of rocks. Hunger ravaged her. Each step was a tremendous effort, but she was near. She could feel it. The clatter of hooves and squeaks of wheels raised her hairs in her neck, but Scylla kept her eyes on the road, stepping one foot in front of the other. "Hello!" called a woman's voice, and it sounded calmer as Scylla's rattling nerves. She whirled to a face and a woman sitting astride a brown mare and weathered wagon jostling behind them. "Well met," replied Scylla, shielding her eyes from the sun as she looked upon the woman. She wore a plain linen dress, her shoulder wrapped in weather cloak lined with fur. "Do you know how far it is to Wreckford?" The woman slowed the horse, squinting down. "It's several hours' walk yet." Her voice was gentle, but her words wrought havoc. Several hours. Scylla tried not to sag in response to the news. "We'll have to rest," said the girl. "We cannot do hours." The woman studied Scylla silently, and she wondered how ragged she looked with the force clinging to her, not to mention the bruises on her neck and eye. "You're welcome to ride in my wagon." "Don't get in the wagon, you'll end up in a van down by the river." I'm just saying. You're welcome to ride in my wagon, the woman said at least. Scylla was silent for a moment, studying her face. Staring brown eyes and a small mole on her forehead had her hair secured beneath a swath of white linen. The woman had an honest look to her. Yeah, so did Jeffrey Dahmer, but doubt lingered in Scylla's mind. You should not be alone on this road. The woman glanced over her shoulders. There are war bands and creatures, and schmurderers have been hunting along these parts. Scylla blinked quickly as the news settled. Ashes, a schmurderer? Truly, yes. The Slatry. Yes, the Slatters. Yeah, fuck y'all. What is a Slatry? All right, they are calling him. Bodies found tied to the posts and pillars of trees in Reckford area, burnt from the inside out. What? Why are we? Why has this book got a fascinations with putting the insides on the outside? Why are we putting the insides on the outsides? What is happening? Oh my Jesus. They say he likes to burn his schmickdom. Wow, it is not. TikTok entertainment purposes only. Entertainment purposes, TikTok. I am Vejdis. My nephew Dala rides in the back as a chaperone. We are headed to the wharf to deliver our wares. You are welcome to ride with us. News of the schmurderer made her decision easy. Scylla nodded at Vigdis. My thanks, she said, then rounded the back of the wagon, stacked high with crates of eggs and squawking chickens. Chickens, the girl said, with excitement, and Scylla smiled. A good omen from the gods. At long last. She accepted a hand up from Dala, who was turned out. It was scraggly boy of 16 or so. A knit cap pulled over his brow. He smiled at Scylla, his gaze drifting to the hammer clutched in her hand. Ha! She quickly jammed it under her leg, and a smile weakly back. Scylla shielded her eyes from the sun, squinting at Dal, then studying the crates surrounding her. Her eyes fell upon small speckled eggs nestled in the wooden boxes beside her. What are those? What are these? She asked Dala. Winterwing eggs, he replied. Winterwing eggs were a delicacy so rare Scylla had never cooked with them. Whoa, okay. They must be very valuable. Like fucking... Have you checked eggs in this current economy? I mean, they're better than they were, but they're still kind of expensive. They're like $3 a fucking dozen now. How much are these fucking special eggs? Winter wing eggs. Okay, valuable, she said absently. Dala eyed with suspicion, and she decided it was best if she kept her mouth shut. Using her sack as a pillow, Scylla reclined against the crates. The wagon rumbled along the road, bouncing over the ruts and potholes, and the wheels groaning and squeaking. Sunlight covered her like a warm blanket, and Scylla's eyelids grew heavy. So heavy, with the first semblance of safety in nearly 24 hours, her eyes fell shut, and she pulled, and sleep pulled her under. Okay. What is your business? Something sharp and forceful in a voice yanked Scylla from her sleep. The wagon had stopped, the sun crawling higher in the sky now. Scylla glanced at Dahlia, who smiled shyly. As she looked out back of the wagon, she realized they were on a timbered bridge, what must be the giant tears thundering beneath them. Were they at the entrance of Reckford? Heading to the wolf, replied Vigis from the top of the horse. Clenar, whispered Dahlia. Oh, thank you for the gifts. In the corner of her lips, they're barricaded the bridge and are searching for something. Shit, they're searching for her. Scylla's heart dropped into her stomach. For what? She whispered back. For what? She whispered back, craning her neck. She could not see over the stacks of crates. I don't know. Who do you carry? Came a gruffy voice. My niece and nephew, replied Vigis, and Scylla could have kissed her. You haven't come across a woman, have you? It was a woman's voice now, giving Scylla pause. Traveling alone, she has seen 20 winters. Curly hair, small scar in a corner of her eye. Scylla's chest tightened. She kept her face neutral, but inside she was trying to corral her tumultuous thoughts. We're on a bridge, said the girl perched atop the tallest stack of crates, a hand shielding her eyes from the sun. You cannot run. There is no escape. Scylla knew her words to be true. This was it. She'd either be captured or she'd be granted her freedom. Everything hinges on this moment. Her curly hair was braided, but the brushing and the scar, they were readily visible. Pulling up the hood of her cloak, Scylla's eyes fitted her mud-caked boots, and she impulsively reached down, then smeared it on her face, ensuring the scar at the corner of her eye and the bruise on her neck were both covered. Very, very smart, very smart. No, we have not seen a woman, came Vidge's voice, impatient. I have seen no one. We must get to the wharf before the merchant ship departs. We have to leave to enter the city. We shall check the wagon. Then you shall have your leave, came the unidentified woman's voice. Footfalls thutter softly on the timber panels of the bridge. 1 step, 2, 3. Calm yourself, or they'll hear the beating of your heart, urged the girl. Forcing a long, deep breath, Scylla's hand squeezed the vial that hung around her neck tightly. Sunval, protect me, she thought. Mala, grant me courage. A warrior woman with bright red hair appeared at the back. Oh, do we have a picture of her? We need a picture. It's another. Wait, maybe not. Maybe we don't need a picture of this ginger. A red-headed woman, I'm sorry. Maybe not. Appeared at the back of the wagon. Eyes burning like the blue core of a red hair and blue eyes. That's gotta be cool as fuck. She had a pale, freckled skin, and her hair was braided back in neat rows along the sides of her skull. The woman of the small male caught the sunlight, forcing Scylla to squint. A Clonier joined the woman, and Scylla stared at the 3-clawed tattoo stretching across his cheek. As a realization struck her, the queen had now involved the king's claws in her search for Scylla. I do not like this woman, muttered the girl from her perch up high. The woman's warrior's severed eyes scoured the wagon, passing over Dahlia and setting on Scylla. Your niece, you said, she called up to Vidges, her eyes scrutinizing Scylla with an intensity that made goosebumps race up her arms. She kept her gaze impassive and her hands folded in her laps. She looks at you too closely, said the girl. Fool, Scylla thought. Half-wit, you're caught. You should not have accepted a ride. After all the struggles, she would be captured. Everything she had been through would be for naught. Yes, Scylla heard Vidges say from up front. My niece, Una. My nephew, Dala. The red-haired warrior looked at Scylla for a heartbeat longer. Her lip curled. Filthy, she muttered under her breath. As the woman warrior and her Clonier companion turned to walk to the front of the wagon, Scylla closed her eyes, letting out a shaky exhale. A moment later, the wagon rolled to motion. They passed 4 Clonier leaning against the bridge guardrail and the woman warrior standing apart, Scylla watching as the towering forms dwindled, then faded into the distance. And then she smiled. Dala's voice caused her to smile, falter. Are you Cladra? No, said Scylla, but she saw no hardness in the eyes. His aunt had lied to the Clonier and himself and not given her up. The kindness from these strangers was so touching. Tears sprang to her eyes. If you are not Gladra, then why do they hunt for you? He watched with her apprehension and perhaps a hint of admiration. If only I understood it, Dala. Dala, Scylla thought. Dang, that's a tongue twister. If only I understood it, Dala, Saya thought, letting out a long breath. Instead, she said, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. They believe I'm someone I'm not, and you and your aunt have just saved my life. They passed between tall timber walls edged in the moss and lichen, Scylla in her breath as she gazed up at the sheer size of them. Reckford, she squeezed her eyes shut, half delirious, half disbelieving. It had been on hope of her wind, a dream. She hadn't made it. I knew you would, Scylla, grinned a little girl, revealing a missing bottom tooth. They wove along the wide avenue crowded with people, carts, and livestock. After the eerie quiet of the woods, the chaos of the city was a beautiful melody to Scylla's ears. The rumble of conversation, the trill of vendors, crying children. A man haggling with the shopkeeper, and they all competed for her attention. There were the sounds of the city, the sounds of anonymity, the sounds of anonymity, a temporary freedom. Scylla was wide awake and alive in her skin. A smile cracked across her face as she devoured the city's sights. The cart ambled past rows of timber-sided homes topped with turfed roofs, but they progressed deeper into the city. Stone structures began to appear. She inhaled the rich scent of spiced roa and baked sweet rolls as they passed a bakehouse, stale mead and ale as they passed a mead hall, iron and leather as they passed the forge. Scylla was taken back by the sheer size of Reckford. She'd known it was a city, but it had been years since she'd been anywhere this large. Whereas Skydra had been well-ordered and monotone, Reckford was quite the opposite. Ancient crumbling stonework was juxtaposed with newer wood structures, sometimes directly adjacent to another one. Narrow lanes twisted off the main road in a discordant collection of rutted paths. Everywhere she looked were signs that the city was constantly shifting, living thing. The car rumbled past a boarded-up stone structure, and something caught Scylla's eye, an ornately carved sun-cross peeking out from behind the cracked panels. Shielding her eyes, Scylla looked up, and I took the impossibly tall spire which one would have been crowned in Scylla's starburst. After many long minutes, they descended a snarky roadway down toward the what is that? Quay? Salt air and the pungent smell of the fish stung her nostrils, and the new scent developed before her eyes. Dozens of sleek wooden vessels were anchored in a labyrinth of the docks. Dragons! Whoa, 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 whoa. Dragons? Get the fuck out. We got dragons? Hang on. Dozens of sleek wooden vessels were anchored at the labyrinth of docks, dragons and snarling wolves, an occasional mermaid carved. Man, I thought we had real dragons and shit. What? Mermaids carved in the prows, and they neared the bursting wharves. A forest of masts sprouted before her eyes, framed by black stone cliffs, taking in the charcoal hue of the forge. Scylla didn't doubt how the city had gotten the name Reckford by the smoky fjord. They are bristled with merchants and vendors and crates and sacks and livestock being loaded and unloaded from ships and dizzying swirls of motions. What about a ship? Asked the girl, looking to... What about a ship, you little blonde? You just sitting there coming up with shit to say, but you ain't helping me. What about a ship? Mused Scylla. Could a ship take her north to Copa? It would certainly be quicker than traveling the road. Perhaps not, the girl said a moments later, and Scylla spotted people clustered around a black-clad figure at the dock entries. Clanair searching crates and boxes, inspecting individuals. Panic began to squeeze her chest. There were a dozen or more of them down here. She needed to get away from this wharf. The wagon rolled to a stop, and Scylla jumped off. She paused as Vigis climbed down from her horse. Methinks, breathed Scylla, looking at the woman's earnest brown eyes. Thank you for the protection and for what you did on the bridge. I know the penalty for harboring a fugitive is death. Your risk is not taken lightly. The woman picked up Scylla's hand and holding them gently between her own, she was a silent moment before speaking. I did so as I wish someone might have helped my sister, Dala's mother, when they came for her. Scylla's heart felt cracked open. Una, the woman nodded. I will think of her tonight, said Scylla. I will hold her name in my heart. I will think of you, of Dala. You are good people. I would soon be dead if it not for your actions. My thanks. Vigis nodded. What will you do? She asked, glancing over her shoulder to where two Clanar stood. I fear Reckford will not be safe for you. The Clanar are thick in the streets. Scylla chewed her lip. For so many days, her goal had been to get to Reckford. But now that she's arrived, she saw that it was true. Reckford would not be safe for her. She could not just linger for long. North, she said absent-mindedly. I must go north. Getting to Copa, she thought. Find Skedgrim, disappear from the world. Then you must travel the road of bones, said Vigdis, something passing behind her eyes. 'Tis a dangerous road. Would be the best for you to find some companions, Scylla nodded. May fortune favor you, said Vigis, turning back to her wagon. You must move away from this place, said the little girl, hugging herself. The air doesn't feel right here. Scylla tugged her hood farther down and tucked her hammer into her bag. And then she edged towards the road, snaking back up to Reckford. Once above, Scylla slipped down the narrow side street. Weaving through the throngs of people, heartened by her progress, Scylla felt something she hadn't in days. Hope. She survived 4 nights alone in the woods and slipped past the Clanair. She might just be able to do this. The excitement of the Reckford could not smother her burning hunger, nor claim her trembling hands. She needed to find food, a place to rest. As narrow as a lane snaked around her bend, Scylla glanced up. Her heart skipped. Before her stood a charcoal building with yellow shutters thrown wide. Above the door hung a white wooden sign, swinging gently on its metal rods. The words, The Owl's Hollow Inn. were scrawled with curving flourish. And below these words, a hand-painted barn owl with the eerie, familiar eyes beckoned her forward. We'll meet Feathers. Scylla smiled, then crossed the road. Oh, okay. So that was Courtney. I just finished chapter 7. All right. So we talked about that owl Feathers in like chapter 4 or 5. On one of the nights before she decided to eat extra leaves and shit, because that's just the dumbest shit ever. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Woo. She said, okay, need to catch up. You're on 7. No worries. We just finished 7, so no problem. Wow. Okay, how do we do on our buttons? You only got one button? Only one? What is happening? Only one button. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm kind of upset. No, I'm just playing. I'm just joking. Which one would you like? She said 6. Quickest. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And hey, MJ. Oh, thanks for listening to me at work. I appreciate that. Okay, you know what, Alvy? That makes sense, though. You're talking about ostrich eggs. We talk about mayo during freaking the Empyrean series. I mean, that's on par for course with us. That's on par for course with us. Let's just keep it real. We learned some shit today. The things you learn at Wise Beyond the Stories, folks. The things that you learn. We just learned so much shit. We don't even plan for it. It's fucking great. I'm telling you. Ostrich eggs. Who'd have thunk it? All right. Okay. I do have a question. Does Blonde Ghost Girl get any better, or is she going to annoy the shit out of me this entire fucking book? Because she is no value added. I'm just saying right now, freaking, I don't even know what I want to call her. I want to call her BG, the Blonde Ghost. The Blonde Ghost is just, she's annoying. Just be no value added except for here to annoy me. She's 5. What do you expect? I expect her to not be this annoying. Carol Ann. Carol Ann. Wait, are we talking like Carol Ann from Poltergeist? Are we going Carol Ann from Poltergeist? Is that what you're doing to me, Q? Is that what that was from? Oh my God, that was one of the first scary movies where I couldn't sleep at night. I think it was Poltergeist 2 with the tequila worm, and it came out. I fucking freaked out about that movie. Oh my God, Carol Ann and Poltergeist, the pool and the fuck that movie. I need
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Balbaran Fae.
fuck that movie, y'all. All right. We'll ask P. 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 Are we allowed to call the ghost girl Carol Ann? The branches on the wind? Yeah, fuck that movie. Okay, so we all agree, fuck them movies. Got it. Yes, Carol Ann. Q, we've approved Carol Ann. We don't talk about the clown doll either there, Alvy. I'm telling you, there's a reason. There's a reason I don't like clowns. Isn't that right, Timmy? Timmy says yes. All right. Oh, man, we are flying tonight. I feel like this story's just going so fast. All right, are we ready for chapter 8? Are we ready for chapter 8? All right. Oh, okay. I hate to say, God, I hate to say this, y'all. I really do. I'll say it at the end. We'll talk about it at the end. We'll talk about it at the end. Because, all right, here we go. Where y'all at? You're 27K. 27K. I tell you what. I know y'all don't have many people tonight, so we'll keep it real. If you can get to 37K, we'll do a full tour. Otherwise, a button for every 5. Button for every 5. If you get 10K, I'll give you a full tour. That's to motivate y'all. Ready, set, go. Chapter 8, Rekford. Keep calling it Rekford. All right. leaning through the haze of the pipe smoke. Jonas. Oh, Jonas. Is he a Jonas brother or Jonas? Jonas. Civic. Clasped the other man's forearm just below the elbow as a second in command of the Blood Axe crew. Hang on a minute. Where'd it go? Blood Axe crew. Where is it? Where'd it go? I got it out here somewhere. I gotta find it. Blood Axe crew. Is it time to don my shirt? He'd learned early from the importance of a firm and confident handshake in this line of work. Never have a wet noodle handshake, okay? Never have a wet noodle handshake. It's not good. Put some oomph in there. You ain't got to break a hand, but firm handshake, okay? Some people try to break your fingers. You don't want that. Just firm. Remember that. All right? Even for the ladies, a firm handshake. I'm telling you. Firm handshake. All right. Any sign of weakness, a flinch, a tremble, and that contract would slip through the night like a horror with a palm full of coins. The man's brown eyes were bracketed with fine lines, but perceptive as ever. Eye contact was just as crucial as the firmness of a handshake. Al dente handshake. Especially to the man like Magnus Hansen, who took the Ukraine tradition seriously as King Ivar's chief herdsman. Magnus' battled glory and reputation preceded him wherever he went. Not just his cunning and strategic mind, but the other side of him, the side of which he'd earned him the name Heart Eater. If this, are we going to listen? Do we got to have a Khaleesi scene where I don't want to see people eating a heart? I'm okay. It was said that he was so skilled with the knife that he could split a man's chest wide while his heart still beat. Okay. Some believe Magnus gained strength and power from consuming his enemy's heart. While it was still warm and quivering. I'll never be powerful if that's what it takes. Jonas could say, though, he brought into the Ukraine rituals the belief that Usur's blessings could be paid for in blood. But he could say for certain that Magnus was a man you did not want to cross. Magnus released Jonas's arm, and the two men took their seat across the table from another. Jonas settled beside the headman of the Blood Axe crew. Ragnar Jarg, whose towering form was folded into his chair, an ankle resting on his knees. Guttering torchlight played along Ray's brown cheekbones, and he regarded Magnus with dark eyes set into his trademark impassive look. Some might think Ray unexpected as the leader with the infamous Blood Axe crew. With his immaculately trimmed black beard and his laboring armor always flawlessly oiled, he was far more clean-cut than most warriors. Jonas knew better than to think this man anything but fierce, lethal on the battlefield. With terrifying once angered, Ray could throw a look so cutting he earned the nickname Axe Eyes. Taser Face! Axe Eyes! Axe Eyes! Yarg Slivik, my thanks for meeting under unusual circumstances, said Magnus as he lifted a carved pipe to his lips. Inhaling, he paused a moment before blowing smoke across the heavily scarred table. The smoke seemed to glow in a dim light of the room. The sweet and earthy scent reached Jonas's nostrils, and his stomach curled. It was not entirely unpleasant, but the uninvited vision of his pipe smoke father was called to a memory. There is no short distance to travel between Sundlik and Reckford, Magnus said Ray. His chair groaned beneath the bulk as he leaned forward, steeping his fingers together. I'll admit, it has been stirred intrigue amongst the crew when they gotten word that Magnus Hansen would be arriving in Reckford. He had requested an audience with them. The Blood Axe crew had vibrated. Had vibrated with curiosity, wagering on what it could be this time. What would draw the Heart Eater to leave the comforts of the capital in Isildur? Isildur. So long as it wasn't like the last job they'd done for the king, Jonas was happy. It had been 3 months since that job retrieving Jarl Heitis' runaway daughter. It had taken the crew a few weeks to find her, holed up in a farmhand at an inn near Slevdarn. They quickly dealt with the boy and had the wretched woman back in Sundvik. The trip had been a nightmare, the woman whining and pleading how she loved the farmhand she had wanted to be free, that she wanted free of her father. His temples had throbbed for the entire week-long journey. Jonas still remembered the relief at handing her back to the father. Sweet, glorious silence. Yes. I've made many embers to stamp out on this trip, muttered Magnus, drawing Jonas from his thoughts. I gather you've heard of the damnable situation at the Burskim mines. Ray pressed his fingers together once more. I've heard rumors. It's grim. 2 Foreman Schmed, the main shaft destroyed. This year's catch of Burmskin set to ruin. We'll need to arrange import from Norvaland to another Ukraine colony. Magnus drew in a deep breath from his pipe, blowing it out slowly. The king will not be pleased at this news, and do not start me on this. Why are these names so fucking... Okay, I get it. Slatrier character. Slatria, asked Jonas, the butcher. Magnus tilted his head back and staring at the ceiling for a moment, the schmurder prowling this region. The vein pulsed in Magnus's pale temple, burns his victims from the inside. 'Tis unnatural. Between us, we believe he must be Galdra. But back to our dealings. Ivar Ironheart has a job that requires your skill. Magnus paused, staring at the roof. There have been troubling affairs in the north. In Istri, a pile of shite near the border of Vestur and Nordun lands. It begins with the vanishing of... It begins with the vanishing of livestock. A sheep here, a cow there, unconcerning, save for the blood flecking the animals left behind. Unfortunately, it was not long after the farmers began to disappear as well. There is evidence of violence and struggle, blood spattered across the walls, rooms torn to shreds, claw marks across the floor as they'd been dragged. Ray and Jonas shared a look. This was gearing up to be far more interesting than a runaway Jarl's daughter. We've messaged by Falcon from Istri, yet we still do not understand these happenings. The locals claim it is a thick white mist. Magnus pinched the bridge of his nose. Mist, repeats Ray. Magnus signed. But there's more. They say the mist has the sounds of a beating heart. Jonas' brows dipped down. Magnus continued. The farmers claim that the mist pulses with a strange rhythm. Like the beating of a heart. That it starts slow and grows louder and louder. And then it simply stops, leaving blood and people missing in its wake. But surely it must be a creature, said Jonas. No living person has seen a creature, said Magnus. But I agree, it must be so. Have you heard such a thing? No, Ray pursed his lips, and silence stretched through the room. Could it be Grimwolves? Interjected Jonas. The claw marks. Skull Gunner have impressive clumps. Must Ray. The forest walkers, he added. For Magnus' benefit, but they're a peaceful lot unless provoked. Could the locals have angered them somehow? Ventured in their groves? Cut down the sacred yard trees? Oh, thank you for the gifts. Magnus shrugged. I cannot say. Ray shifted in his chair. This mist is puzzling indeed. The heartbeat it has the sound of something ancient. Taking another puff of his pipe, Magnus blew it out and continued. We sent a battalion of Clenier from Copa to assist a few weeks past. His voice trailed off. The skin and blondes are done. That's funny. The dripping down, an ancient has occurred. The Clenier bodies were discovered in Istal's town. Excuse me. Whoa. His voice trailed off, the corners of his lips dripping down. An incident has occurred. The Clenier's bodies were discovered in Istri's town square. They were secured to Usur's pillars by strange-looking vines. They'd been stabbed through the heart though by something wilder than round than a sword or a dagger. Okay. All was around the bodies. A symbol was written in blood over and over, a sun cross. Magnus's jaw. What is Perry? What are you getting me into, my girl? Jaw flex. King Ivar has grown furious and placed urgency on this task. It is not the rebels, asked Ray, scratching his black beard. They seem the type to taunt King Ivar with the Volsig sigil. Magnus shook his head. Impossible to say for certain, but our watchers suggest the rebels were not near at the time. Ray was silent for a moment, staring at the roof. It seems 2 different hands are at play, he murmured. Entirely different victims, added Jonas. Are we certain they're the same attackers? Magnus sucked on his pipe, blowing a stream of smoke out slowly. No, we cannot know. It was possible. The information we have is unreliable. You know the Northmen, sun-drunk in the summer, and cabin men in the winter, and cabin mad in the winter. Their superstitions make it difficult to discern facts from fiction. Jonas understood why Magnus had sought them out. Ray and his blood axe crew had established a reputation for dispatching particular stubborn creatures. Half a year earlier, they had been sent out by Magnus to deal with a pack of bloodthirsty Ilmar, the scaly vampires of the sea. What? Sea vampires? What the fuck is a sea vampire? Okay, roger that. Okay, who've been terrorizing the fishermen south of the capital, had been taking the blood axe crew like the only people that do shit around here? What the fuck? It had taken the blood axe crew weeks of research and planning before they discovered arrows fashioned from rowan wood were the effective and piercing their scales as they could lure the Ilmar from the waters with buckets of eel blood. What? After that, it had been a simple task for picking them off one by one. The mysterious pulsing mist, the missing livestock and farmers, the schmurdered clean air. Now, this felt like a challenge, something different. You want us to discover what was stolen from the farmers and schmilled the clean air, mused Ray, his fingers drumming down on the curves of his chair, and dispatch them. Yes, and we need this problem solved quickly, so the seeds of the discord do not spread. Do not disclose the nature of this job to anyone, locals or otherwise. Particularly above the clean air and the sun cross. The Gothi in Istri had cleaned up the mess and has ordered a letting to earn back Usur's favor. And you must keep the details of this job secret, by sword, if necessary. Ray pressed his fingers together. If Jonas knew anything about the Blood Axe crew's headman, he knew Ray was running figures through his head. The fact that Magnus had traveled so far to see them meant that he specifically sought them out for this job. The fact that there were so many unknowns about their target, the secrecy, the risks, the long journey, this one would pay huge. Big. It can be done, said Ray, his gaze unflinching. But it is a long journey, and the job of a great risk. Istri is a month's travel from here. We will need provisions. If you accept this job, Yar, you must leave tomorrow, said Magnus. Leaning forward on the table, the air in the room seemed to cackle with intensity, but neither Ray nor Jonas looked away. We've brought rhodium blades up with us from the treasury in Sundvik. Let me know where your supply wagon is stored, and I'll be arranged to have them offloaded. Rhodium blades could prove helpful, murmured Ray. Rhodium is a rare metal in which nearly unbreakable and particularly lethal in the type of creatures lurking in the western woods. Magnus was taking no chances. If you need an extra warrior, Yarg, you may contact the Cleaneer garrison in Kopa. Commander Vlaf is under orders to provide men and whatever assistance should you require. Jonas raised his eyebrows, his eagerness and growling. He knew Ray was already dreaming about ordering those kuntas. That's just so y'all know what that word means? Oh, I don't have it right now. I'm remaking that button. That's a British word. Kuntas, that's Viking for a British word. I'm just saying. Them stupid kuntas. That's a Viking word. I'm just going to say it. All right, sorry. He thanked the gods, and Ray obtained special permission from Magnus to exclude the younger brothers Ilsel from recruiting to their ranks. As a second son by law, he should have been conscripted at 18. It's a Viking. It's Viking for a British wood. Yes, exactly. He'd been conscripted at 18. Ray paused. First light tomorrow. That shall be trial. That shall be a trial to accomplish. It could be done. Pay is 10,000 solas, with 2,000 paid upon acceptance of the job. Magnus reached into the bag beside his chair, retrieved a linen sack, and dropped it onto the table's surface with a heavy thud. Coins clinked together, echoing loudly in the room. Jonas's heart might have stopped. His fingers gripped the arms of the chair. That was more coin than the Blood Axe crew had ever been paid. Cha-ching, ching! We rich, rich! That kind of money, it was life-altering. His thoughts swirled, but Ray's low voice growled at him. Jonas, have you any concerns? Jonas shook his head. All he could think of were the solas in the bag, and any other concerns had vacated him the second the coin hit the desk. Well then, Magnus, says Ray, extending his hand. It is settled. Magnus grabbed his arm below the elbow and nodded his head. It is settled. Now y'all got that 35. Y'all learned it. Well, axe eyes, asked Eyeless as Ray and Jonas approached the end of the long table occupied by the Blood Axe crew. Illis made a space on the bench beside him, Jonas nodding at his younger brother as he took his seat. The mead hall was a beast alive and roaring. The last rays of sunlight steamed through the open window of rows of worn, trestle tables lined with wooden benches. Smoke from hearth fires and the scent of charred meat filled the air. Jonas guessed the 8th chime would soon sound, and as it appeared, the residents of Reckford had turned out in full force to drink their nightly fills. Horns of ale, cups of meads, and brences were passed out. Warriors, merchants, and craftsmen sitting shoulder to shoulder, sharing tales and games of dice. Jonas braced his hands on the table, looking around at Elis, Sigrun, Hilika, and Gunnar. Foursome job. You all despise it. You all despise it. Foursome job, you'll all despise it. Truly, asked Gunnar, his dark eyes narrowed, wide mouth pulled into a grimace. The golden light washed across him, glinting off the dark brown bridge of his nose and his thick black locks. Jonas startled, ticking off his fingers. Mystery vanishing. Permissions to order around the clean air. Pays 10,000 solas? Awful. Truly, just... Sigrun inhaled sharply from across the table, the surprise plain in her preemptive brown eyes. Her long brown braids flipped to the left side of her hair, exposing the glossy burn scars which climbed up her neck and along the right side of her skull. Halakha? What? No. When did I miss that word? Okay. Sigrun, Helika, and Gunnar. Got it. I like it. Okay. Jonas kicked out the fingers, ministry vanishing around the Kenlagar, 10,000 solas, awful truly. Sigrun inhaled sharply from across the table, the sharp plane in her penetrative brown eyes. Her long blonde braid were flipped to the left side of her hair, exposing the glossy burn scar which climbed up her neck and along the right side of her skull. A surprise melted into excitement. A smile curved her lips, and Jonas matched in with his own. No, said Illa, knocking Jonas off the shoulder. If you're lying, Ray waved 2 fingers at the barkeep. We shall raise a cup to this one. What is the job? Sigrun signaled to the rapid sequence of hand gestures. After 5 years spent traveling with her, interpreting was second nature to Jonas and the rest of the Blood Axe crew. Ray leaned on an elbow on the table. Istra has a problem, and we're to solve it. If we got a problem, I'll solve it. Check out my hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. It's the Blood Axe crew, baby. Sorry. All right. Focus. Where in the arse end of Ilster is Istri? Asked the Illa. God damn, that's a lot of fucking I words. We're in the arse end of Ilster in Istri, asked Illa a little too loudly. Fucking say that 10 times fast. Jonah could tell his younger brother had indulged in several horns of ale while awaiting their return. Ray leveled Illa's with a look, making whatever else he was about to say dry up in his mouth. Hold your cursed tongue, Illis, or I'll tie a line to your horse and drag you to Istri. Is that Elias? Is that Elias? Is his name Elias? I'm just fucking up. You about to be Elias. Frown, please. I'm an impenetrable as a shield wall. Ray scowled right. Is that why you share Gunner's aversion to spiders with the... Hey, spiders are scary. Shut the fuck up. Aversion to spiders with the whole Severin meal hall? Think you can just crawl into your furs and make themselves at home? Muttered Gunner. Or when you place Herring in Helka's bedding but couldn't keep silent long enough for her to find it. Okay, hang on. That's some army shit, right? That's funny as fuck. Or when you placed a herring in Helka's bedding but couldn't keep silent long enough for her to find it. You can still expect retribution for that, grumbled Helka, tapping the metal finger on the table. Or when you told Kraka every slanderous thought we'd ever shared in confidence. All right, Axe Eyes, you're as subtle as a warhammer. You've made your point. Elias cast a look off the roof, placing a hand over his heart. I swear by the almighty bear god, by Mala's tits! And Helbrock's hairy toes. Tits and toes, baby, tits and toes. I shall not speak a word of this. Rayo rolled his eyes, then leaned forward, beckoning the crew closer. Magnus had advised this job must be kept silent by any means necessary. He relayed the details of the jobs in a low voice. The Rindrum blades shall be loaded into our supply wagon tonight and will leave tomorrow at first light. He finished. Our food kit should be adequate, but will replenish provisions in Savatra. I might offer assistance in sorting the wagon. Axe Eyes? Asked Elias. Jonas fought back a smile. Always, thank you for the gift, always teasing his brother of his. No hands touched the wagons, but mine, snapped Ray, predictably. First light, must Helka. Her ember eyes fitting to Jonas. Certainly you can manage, Wolf. Jonas straightened, smoothing a palm down in the front of his favorite tunic, a fine spun garment in blue. I like blue, which brought out his eyes. Aw, whatever you mean, Helka. Helka smirked. You know Roseanne? You know Roseanne? Rosalind? I no longer bother to learn the names of you dalliances, nor do I. Jonas smiled deepened. I called her Red. Can we call... That would be great. We're gonna... That's... I like... I'd simply call her Red. I've learned that picking a distinctive feature is far easier than trying to... Thank you. Somebody gets me. Thank you. Thank you for the finger hearts. Somebody gets me. Let's just make it easy. You call me dipshit. I call you the voices. We'll call them H and S and fucking Christ and the cracker. All right. Anyway, I've learned picking up distinctive features. Helka shook her head, her lip curled. Of course you would, Wolf. Don't stay up too late. Mischief flashed in her eyes. Or do stay up. I have collected wagers on your arrival time tomorrow. My coin will be placed on your tardiness. Damn, he's already saying I'm gonna fucking bet you late. I'll be sure to retire early, said Jonas dryly. My thanks, mother. The verbal equivalent of an elbow to the ribs had the desired effect. Helka's mouth twisted into a snarl. Do not call me that. Thank you for all the gifts, y'all. In 2 heartbeats, she had him in a headlock, wrenching him off the bench between the rows of tables with the push of buttons, silver claws protracted from her prosthetic. What? What? Within 2 heartbeats, she had him in a headlock, wrenching him off the bench between 2 rows of tables with the push of a button, silver claws protracted from her prosthetic arm and grazed dangerously across his throat. The fuck? Must I teach you another lesson, Jonas? Did you damage your hand, Helka? I recall it was you learning the last time, said Jonas through clenched teeth. He kicked out a low, knocking her off balance as Helka tumbled backwards. Her hand fisted the tunic, pulling him down with her. Together they crashed under the table behind them. Fucking drunks. The shattering of the clay cup and the honey scent of the mead indicated that the drink had been casualty of the games. He twisted himself free from Helka's grip, just in time to see a small figure cloaked in red swishing between the tables toward the door of the meat hall. Hiya! Boomed the barkeep, unloading an army of clay cups filled with brinsa on the table. You'll frighten my patrons off with your antics. Knock it off or knock out. He jerked his thumb toward the door. Helga smothered her black hair and climbed back onto the bench. Our sincerest apology, Leaf. And soon to be rid of us. She turned to the crew, lifting a cup. The battle, glory, and fortune. The others drank back the liquid and slammed their cups down on the table. You'll be leaving, came a silly voice from behind Jonas. A familiar, slender hand curled over his shoulder. He turned, taking in Red's heavily lashed blue eyes and glossy red hair, the lower lip jouting in a pout. Blood warming at the sight of her, Jonas covered her with his hand, afraid so, Red. He ignored Helga's rolling eyes. We still have tonight. Jonas watched his red eyes darken, and she brought the other hand to his nape, scratching her nails along his neck. He immediately started making plans for those nails, for those lips. Sliding his hand into her hair, Jonas pulled her until her ear was right beside his lips. Wait for me in the room, he whispered, wearing the red underdress. Releasing her, he smiled to himself. As she gilded toward the ledging at the rear of the meat hall, Jones threw back a cup of whiskey. I'll take the wager, Sundgren signed, pulling up a throaty laugh from Helga. Wow. Okay. That was a good one. Okay, we got some shit going on. So we've learned that the Blood Axe crew are the only people that apparently do some shit around this mug. I'll tell you that. They do. Damn, 42K. All right, I'll give you the full tour. Where you want to start? I don't even say. But Blood Axe crew is some bangers. All right. Where are we starting, y'all? Where are we starting? Hecla. Yeah, we'll get there. Hecla. I like Helga. Hecla. We'll get there. She said 1. You're going from 1. You're starting for, you just want the whole tour from the top, huh?
Rune Dannon,
All right, here we
Crown
go.
Prince of the Balbaran Fae.
I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby. But you keep frontin', saying what you gon' do to me. But I ain't seen nothing. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby. But you keep frontin', saying what you gon' do to me. But I ain't seen nothing.
So I have to show this one for her because she hasn't seen the new one yet. So here we go. I had to show her that one. She hadn't seen the new one yet.
Rune
And then
Danon,
we'll end off
Crown
with Rune
Prince of the
again
Balbaran
before we go into
Fae.
chapter 9. All right. Let's get into it. Chapter 9. Let's go. Gunner Firefist. That's his name. It's better than Taserface. All right. Are we ready for chapter 9? Where are we at? All right. We're at 45. Okay, you just hit 45. Which one do you want, P? And then we're going to get started. 45. What do you want? One more. What do you want? Hurry, hurry. Step right up now. Pick a button, pick a button. What do you want? She said, bye, eldest. She said, later. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Are we ready? All right, we're at 45. 5 per. We're going to make it hard. You got to get to 60 this time for a full tour. 60 for the full tour. Chapter 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And since I have MJ 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go 55, Q. You're right. There's only 16 of y'all tonight. So we'll go 55 for a full tour. Otherwise, you just get one button. Ready, set, go. Chapter 9. The Road. Woo! Talk about a bone. Oh, sorry. If you hit 65, you'll get 2 tours. 65 for 2 tours. How about that one? Chapter 9. The Road of Bones. The Road of Bones. 10,000 sola as he rode along the Road of Bones. Jonas could not stop thinking of it. It was more than they'd ever been paid for a job. Nearly 2,000 solas per member of the Blood Axe crew. What that meant for Jonas, for Illis, it meant they'd soon be able to retake what was rightfully theirs. For 5 years, it had been Jonas's sole focus, the thing which kept him going when he woke up with the frosted beard, or when an Ilmar managed to shred through his armor. After his job, he and his brother would be just short of it. A year, perhaps 2 more, and they'd have sufficient funds. Jonas pulled a hammer, silver talisman, and from his pocket. Rubbing his thumb along the rigid surface, he allowed himself to imagine it. He and Illis in their shared longhouse, restored to its former glory. They'd start by replacing the beams. The roof would need fresh thatching. I tell you what, y'all ever watch them fucking thatching videos on TikTok where the dude goes, we give it a whack and a poke, and he redoes all the thatched roofs and fucking that dude, y'all. I'm telling you, I'll focus and get back on right now. That shit is so cool. Y'all watch that shit on TikTok. The Fat Rooch guy, he goes a little tap and a whack or something. Anyway, so, sorry. Whew. Okay. What was that? Fresh thatching, the stonework in the hearth to be recast, the outbuilding on the property raised and built from scratch. As he tried to recall how the longhouse had looked when he was a boy, Jonas's mind could not help but drift to the time long gone, and he was helpless, for the memory took front and center in his mind. Sitting at the beach of the long table, Jonas scrapped his blade along the wood's edge, mesmerized by the curling ribbons he shaped tip of the sword. It wouldn't be long until he had finished the project, until he could reach Illis's... It's got to be Elias. Elias, from the moment he studied from the sparring warrior and the spring assembly. Nearby, a pot hung over the crackling hearth fire, filling the longhouse with the scent of mutton stew. Mutton stew. Ugh. Across from him sat his mother, spinning wool on a distaff. She hummed as she worked, and the sound surrounding him like a warm embrace. Beautiful, my little pup, said his mama, nodding at his sword. Pride filled Jonas's chest as he matched her smile with his own. You'll make a fine swordman one day. Do you think it? Asked Jonah, smothering a sharp edge of the pommel. Oh, yes, she muttered, just like your grandfather. Jonah's hand found the talisman hanging around his neck. Family, respect, duty. His grandfather had told Jonas as he handed him the hammered silver disc, your father is hopeless. So it shall be the path you walk. Jonas, swear to me, pup. Swear on the talisman that you'll embody the values of all that you do. Swear on the talisman, grandfather. Jonas had said solemnly. It was bare hours later, and his grandfather's corpse like hold on the bed, claimed by the consuming sickness he'd long fought. I'm assuming the consuming sickness is still tuberculosis in this story. All right. Tell me tales of his battle, glory, mama, begged Jonas, though he knew them by heart. Very well, she said, a smile upon his lip. He left a mark to make a name for himself long before I was born. But it is important to remember. Yes, yes, said Jonas, impatient to get to the violent parts. His heart remained here in these lands, our ancestors. His duties to family always called to him. Smart tongue you have, teased his mother. A crash from outdoors set the hairs on the back of Jonas's neck on the edge. No, he thought. It was too early for his father to have returned to the steeding. But the foul curse bellowed from beyond the doors of the longhouse told him otherwise. Go, whispered his mother. Find your brother. Go to the elm tree. Do not come back until the sun is beyond the horizon. Anger flared at Jonas's chest, and he brandished his wooden sword. I will protect you. His mother faced and drained blood. Her hands trembled. No, my little pup, you must not. The last time. I cannot bear for him to turn his fists on you again. Go, I beg of you. Your brother needs you. Guilt burned inside him as he recalled his shame. The last time he tried to intervene, his father had beaten Jonas unconscious. Damn. When he'd awoken, his mother had been bedridden for 2 days. What kind of man was he when he couldn't protect his mother? But the fear in her eyes forced Jonas to move to the back door. He paused in the doorway, his hand squeezed around the hilt of his carved sword, and the sound of the father bursting through the main door met the ears. Jonas fled. Gritting his teeth, he tried to clear his mind. It was difficult, as always, to think to the future without the past pushing in. Family, respect, duty. Jonas whispered soundly, forcing his thoughts to the future. Elias would marry and carry the same civic name. There would be children and laughter and peace. The forge restored, the lands worked back to prosperity, and Jonas would be free. What would this feel like? That is more difficult for him to imagine. Jonas was silent as the crew meandered in their house. Jonas was silent as the crew meandered their horses along the road of bones, the wagons creaking behind Ray's white mare. Hekla's voice pulled him from his thoughts. My surprise to find you on time today, Jonas. Did Red not keep you awake all night? God bless America, Wise. Surprised to find you on time today, Jonas. Did Red not keep you awake all night after all? Why can't I say those words? A gentleman does not disclose, replied Jonas. In truth, she had kept him up late, though in part because Jonas had first made a trip to the hoard to bury their potion and the funds paid up front. The brothers had Solus stashed in all corners of Istur, and soon, they would dig them up and buy back their lands. It was only after reburying the chest beneath the stump on the outskirts of Reckford that Jonas had made his way to Red's quarters, finding her waiting in the dress just as he requested. The gentleman, sorted Hekla. Then it cannot be you we speak of, Wolf. Jonas bit down on his back teeth. And you slept, well, Hekla? No. Strapping the young warrior to haul you over his shoulders. Or perhaps the reverse. He wisely decided not to add. She rolled her shoulders. Malice tits. You know I'll not be going back down that road. The black lines of her prosthetic arm glinted in the sunlight as if in agreement. Jonas saw Gunnar shifting on his horse from the corner of his eyes and smirked. The two thought they were so sly. 'Twas a love affair between Leaf's supply of Brinsa and I, Hecla continued, though Ray was a great assistance. Ray let out a low sound of acknowledgement, but kept his gaze straight ahead. Jonas assessed him, noting that the ashen color of his headman's skin, the purple smudges beneath his eyes, had Ray truly overindulged on Brinsa? How very unlike him to do anything to compromise his perfectly crafted control. Perhaps Isola had in a celebratory mood last night as well. Ray, chuckled Jonas. You're looking well. Ray just grunted. Do not spend the evening arranging the wagon, then. Should have, muttered Ray. Why are the birds so running loud today? Axe Eyes just realized he's no longer a sprightly 18-year-old, chirped Elias. Far too perky for the time of day. In truth, Ray had only seen 5 winters more than Elias 21, but in maturity it seems more like a decade. You're looking for another reminder that I'm your headman. No, Elias. You're looking for another reminder that I'm your headman. Elias No Beard, growled Ray. I believe we settled on Elias the Cunning, replied Elias, stroking the wispy blonde beard growing along his jaw. It was beginning to fill in, but it was so fair it was difficult to see. Was it not Elias Horsebreath? Asked Kalka with cackle. Elias believes himself invincible, signed Sigrun. Gunnar translated for her. Elias never checks his flank, Jonas added with a smirk. He knew his brother would act affronted, but secretly delighted in these exchanges. Elias' easygoing nature was something Jonas admired deeply and wished he himself had. As the older brother, the one who'd borne the burden of responsibility as long as he could remember, he never had a chance to develop such nature. All right, exclaimed Elias, enough. Let's have another crew meeting and discuss it at the evening meal. I gather you didn't get a look at the middle. Hecla asked Ray, tilting her head towards the wagon. No, 'twas dark. Magnus reported 4 broadswords, 8 daggers, 3 short swords, 2 pony doves, and a partridge in the back of a wagon. Ray winced. Stable boy was drunk. They best all be there. What is the plan for this job? Asked Gunnar, sliding between Hecla's and Jonas' mounts. Ray was silent for a moment. This one shall require additional scouting. We'll survey the locations, the abductions, and speak to the locations. We must observe this mist, determine if it is needed cloaking creatures. Determine if it is indeed cloaking creatures. We'll determine numbers, strength, formations, strategy, and then create a plan of attack. Mist with a heartbeat, signed Sigrun, Elias repeating it loud for the whole crew to hear. Claw marks, blood. These are feeble details. And the sun cross, added Jonas, the Clinier corpses. The more he considered it, the more the sun cross, and the dead Clinier did not fit with the other schmurders. The sun cross was the Volks' signal and suggested support of their line. The Ukrains were sea kings to some of the plagues in the others. And they rallied and conquered, mercilessly crushing all who stood in their way. It had been 17 years since King Ivar had seized the throne of Istru. Most of the kingdom had moved on with their lives, yet Jonas knew there were some who harbored bitter resentment against King Ivar. It was impossible to forget the brutal affair with the Volks family 17 years ago after the usurping the throne. King Ivar had mandated that public attention in the pits of Askaborg Castle, where King Jarten, Queen Silva, and their young daughter Princess Isa were strung on pillars. God, everybody's getting hung up. You get a pillar, you get a pillar, you get a pillar. Let's all get fucking What is happening? Jesus. Silver and Is had met quick deaths at the point of woo at Ivar's sword. But the Yarin had suffered a long, painful death, though the mead halls had been whispered. Yartin Volsik's back had been sliced open, ribs splayed wide with the final nauseating flourish. His lungs had been draped outside. Oh, he did the whole angel thing. Okay, I don't remember what it's called. It's like an angel. Outside his body, like a glory wings of a bird, a blood eagle. The Ukrainians, that's what it was, a blood eagle. The Ukrainians called it, and they also whispered that. Much to King Ivar's jargon, King Yarin had faced death with dignity, not a scream slipping from his lips. Only one of the great Volks line had survived the sacking of Sundvik 5 years after Princess Sage raised against Ivar's wards and future bride of his son Björn. Undoubtedly, there were Volk's 6 supporters scattered across the kingdom, and with the sun cross painted in blood, it was no wonder King Ivar wanted this dealt with swiftly. Ray's voice pulled Jonas from his thoughts. Karka has the guide on Isdur's creatures. Loath as I am to suggest it, the book might hold the key to understanding the mist. A chorus of groans filled the air. How exactly do you propose to convince him to hand it over, Axe Eyes? Demanded Helka. Ray let out a long exhale. I was hoping please would suffice. Not a chance, said Gunnar. Not after we ousted him. Karka holds the grudge tighter than his cups of Brensa. We need to be cunning to get the information. Do your contacts in Svetra have a copy of the book, Ray? Asking Jonas. Anything to avoid trekking several days off the road of bones to see a cranky former leader of the Blood Axe crew. Ray was silent a moment. I do not believe so. The book was rare to start with, and most copies have been destroyed through the years. But the Klenar and I have asked them. Kraka, I will ask them, but Cracky, Cracker? Have only surviving copies that I'm aware of. Perhaps a distraction, mused Helka. One to divert his attention while the other lifts the book. Cracky's too clever for that, said Jonas. The moment he sees us, he'll slam the door in our faces. There must be another way, a way to get him to drop his guard. Well, grumbled Ray. We have a long ride before Silka's Ridge to figure it out. The Blood Axe crew continued down the road for several more hours, and the sun dropped lower into the sky, and the shadows began to stretch across the road of bones. Sigrun had whistled twice from the front of the pack. The crew pulled off the road, following a goat track through the trees, down a hill into a grassy glade sprinkled with a tiny white flower. After dismounting, Sigrun trudged back to the smear of the wagon and horses tracked with the branches. The rest of the crew settled in for a comfort of the nightly routine. Jonas scoured the woods for sticks and branches. Summer meant the sun would be up long into the evening, and we could easily make out Illis pulling saddles, Hekla and Gunnar brushing down the horses, and Sigrun arriving back to the drawing supplies from her saddlebag. He carried an armload of logs from the forest that had been chopped with a few swift swings of his axe, then set to the digging in the fire pit. Ray, where's the tinderbox? Jonah asked, searching through the supply bag. Picked up a fresh firestone in Reckford. Wagon, food kit. Getting to his feet, Jonas rounded the wagon. He loosened the leather straps of the tether of the blanket over the top, and in one fluid motion, yanked it back and stared a pair of brown wire. You got caught, bitch! Oh, my Lord, she's in the back of the wagon. No way. That's wild. You got busted. Ah, busted. All right. Where did we get? Did we make it? I don't think you made it. You did. Oh, you were so close. You made it to 58. So close. We'll give you 2 buttons. We'll get you 2 buttons, and we're going to hit this last chapter up. What you got? What you got? What you got? So suspicious. 5 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby. But you keep running. Say what you gon' do to me. But I ain't seen nothing. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby. But you keep running. Say what you gon' do to me. But I ain't seen nothing.
And 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, which ones did we say? Which ones did she say? I don't even remember. She said 5. 1, 2. All right. We got one more chapter for tonight. Oh, I dropped my pad. That's what she said. She said, hey, I see you trying to sneak that one in there, P. I saw that. Let's get going. Last chapter for the night, folks. Chapter 10, The Road of Bone. After a night and full day of total darkness, the light was blinding. Scylla froze, the hammer clutched in her chest. She couldn't see anything, but she heard him. A man. The man cursed and grabbed her collar and hauled her from the wagon, dropping her roughly to her feet. The unmistakable press of cold steel dug just below her jaw, and a hand gripped her neck, pinning against the wagon. As pain flared sharply from her bruised throat, she cried out. The man grip thankfully loosened. Scylla blinked several times, and her eyes finally adjusted, bringing the man's familiar face into focus. He looked like a prince from the Sclad tale, handsome and almost boyish. Golden hair and eyes so blue they seemed unreal, but the scar on his cheek and beard added a rugged touch, telling tales of a hard life spent with a blade in hand. And as she took in the man's tall and broad, with the build of a warrior, a flush crept up her neck. Scylla opened her mouth to say something, but found speech beyond her grasp. The man's eyes settled on her bruised cheek and traveled down her neck. His hands moved away from the bruising, rough calluses sliding slowly down the column of her throat, stopping only at the base. As his thumbs pressed into the place where his pulse pounded feverishly, Scylla flinched. You're right to be frightened. The man's gaze continued downward. Drop the hammer. His lips teased a smile, but his grip on her neck tightened. Drop it! Nerves jittered through her. Scylla released the hammer, and it fell to the ground. Thank you for the gift, with a soft thud, staring at the man with golden hair and golden skin. Her breath shallowed. All day she'd practiced what she'd say upon her discovery, but now that moment was here. Her mind was utterly blank. Half-wit, she thought. Say something. The man made a sound of disapproval. Ray, he called out, we got a problem here. There was a swirl of motion from behind the blond man, soft footstep, the rustle of clothing, and a familiar slide of metal as swords were unsheathed. Within moments, the group surrounded her, and she squirmed under the scrutiny, a butterfly whose wings were pinned. Your red cloak. You were at the mead hall, said the golden man. Then her mouth opened and closed, and then she finally found her voice. Unfortunately, it fell out of her in a jumbled rush. I heard you in the mead hall, Copa. I must get to Copa, and my map shows Istria isn't quite near. It's perfect. You could drop me off on your way. I can cook, or wash your socks, or feed your horse treats. I'm not good at building fires, but I could learn. She locked eyes in with the giant of a man she'd followed to the stables, and her voice died in the throat. Pecking from beneath the collar, tattoo swirled inky black against the coppery brown skin. His black hair was shorn short, and on the sides it pushed out from his crown in thick, tight curls that caught the last of the light in the day. While his beard had been trimmed so neatly, it had to have been done this morning, but most striking of all were his eyes, mahogany, and so sharp with anger she could feel them scrape along her skin. Ashes, she thought. Were all these people beautiful? This man's handsomeness, however, was marred by the look of total disgust twisting his face. Behind him, a rangy blond man with whispery beard bit down on his fists. The man's eyes shut in what appeared to be a fit of silent laughter. On the other side stood a woman whose hair was shorn close on the sides, the top braided back. Her skin was warm golden hue and a few shades darker than Scylla's own, and her lips were pressed together as if she too were trying to suppress a smile. Search her ordered the tattooed man. His voice was so deep the tiny hairs of Scylla's arms stood on end. A lanky blond man waved his hand eagerly. I volunteer. Shut your mouth, Elias, or I'll do it for you, growled the man. Ashes, he was tall, a half head taller than the rest of them. And Scylla surmised that he was the leader. He turned to a short woman with delicate features, blonde hair shaved on the sides. Sigrun, the golden man, held her against the wagon while Sigrun stepped forward. As she neared, Scylla got a better view. Her eyes traced the shining, saturated marks curving up Sigrun's neck and along the base of her skull, burned scars by the looks of them. Her ash blonde hair was braided in a neat row along the edge of the shaved section, with the second, larger blade along her crown. As Sigrun reached for Scylla, she noted that the burn scars reached all the way down to her left hand. Sigrun pulled up the sleeve of Scylla's dress, examining her underside of her waist. I am a free woman, Scylla. I am a free woman, Scylla murmured, realizing what she is on the search for. The thrall mark, the tattoo on the wrist of the enslaved. The blonde woman slid her sleeve back down and then began to pat Scylla down. I do have a dagger on my ankle. Silence stretched uncomfortably as Sigrun's hand moved down Scylla's torso over her breast and down her stomach, pausing at her hips as she prodded the coin purse in the hidden pocket. Her hands jumped down Scylla's ankle, unsheathing the dagger and passing it to the leader. The man turned it over in his hand, frowning. Sigrun worked her way upward, and Scylla's face flushed with the woman's hand moving beneath her skirt. Finally, Sigrun stepped back, making a quick succession of curious hand gestures to the leader. Bag, growled the tattooed giant of a man. The golden man leaned over Scylla's shoulder, peering into the wagon. As his scent filled her nostrils with iron and leather, and, well, man, Scylla's body flushed warm. He pulled out her sack, handing it to the leader. A protest threatened from the back of her throat, but Scylla swallowed it back and watched silently as the leader pulled her clothing and her father's tunic, pausing to look at the heart-shaped rock. He threw her an incredulous look before tossing it to the ground with the rest of her things. What an asshole. Throw a rock on the ground? That's not nice. The man turned to her, his dark eyes searing into her skin. No food, no water, no clothing to protect her from the elements. Do you even know what road you're on? Scylla took the shaky breath. The road of bones. And do you know why it's called the road of bones? She shook her head. It's paved with the bones of travelers who never made it to their destination. It is dangerous, desolate, and not for the weak. I'm not weak, she managed through her stupid voice wobbled. They stood in silence for a moment, staring at one another. Then a movement so sudden she hadn't a chance to react in time. A huge man stepped forward and gripped her chin. He lowered himself to her level and stared at her with the eyes so intense she yearned to look away. But she didn't. Some instinct told her that she needed to hold this gaze, needed to prove to him that she wasn't weak. Tell me why you shouldn't. Tell me why you were where you shouldn't be, he rumbled. She held a glaze, unflinching. I need to get to Copa. Tell me why I shouldn't leave you on the side of the road. She swallowed. Because I would be more than likely to die if you did. He laughed, but the sound was humorless and hollow. You think the Blood Axe crew cares who dies? Cares of death? We already up to our necks in blood, girl. The Blood Axe crew? Though Scylla with the silver. The name string vague memory. Something mentioned around the cook fires. A small but violent crew who would take on anything from outlaws to dark creatures and left no survivors. Oh, porridge, she thought. Of all the wagons it could have been, she crawled into theirs. And in that moment, Sylva knew if she wanted to live, she'd need to be cunning. The leader's eyes surveyed her cheek and then moved down her throat. As she took in a bruising on her neck, his face scoured. I can help you, she said, and desperate though, taking in root in her mind. I can help you with that, man. Kraka? The man's eyes met hers with the look so dark it seemed to slice into her skin. What did you say? I can help you get that book you need. Her heart pounded louder than a war drum as something shifted behind the man's eyes. You heard us? Yes, Scylla managed. He cast a look at the skies, then grabbed the golden man's dagger and pressed it tighter at her throat. Then I'll have no choice but to schmill you. Wait, Scylla pleaded. Her offer had not been received the way she expected, and now her mind scrambled for something, for anything. Wait, I can help you. We're under orders to keep this job quiet, by blades if we must. But perhaps you're not clever enough to understand what that means. Desperate words spilled from her. If there's one talent I have, it's speech. My father always said I have a tongue more golden than that of a Ukraine scald. It was a lie, of course, but if anything, well, I mean, if you're pulling off this lie, then your tongue's pretty golden. I'm just saying. If anything, Scylla's talent lay in speaking before formally forming thoughts, as had clearly just occurred, but the words had startled, and there was no stopping them. I know what you mean, girl. If you kill me, you'll have to find another way to convince Krake. I can help you. Let me distract him for you, or try to draw the information right from him. A plan in case he does not have the book you need. The giant of a man stared at her, and he considered her words. Scylla held her lips together to prevent any more words from falling out. No, he said, pressing the blade deeper. What's the risk to you? Scylla asked, her voice wrenched higher. Who will I tell out here on this road? Take me to Krake. Crocky. And I'm fucking these names. Kraka. And I'll prove my worth. I will get this book. The leader's eyes roamed her face, settling on the scar beside her left eye. The urge to squirm beneath the weight of the gaze was nearly unbearable, but Scylla forced herself to remain still, counting her breaths. 1 breath, 2, 3. Ray, said the golden man. Kraka. Kraka? You want me to call him a Kraka? Kraka. Hey, Kraka. Come here, Cracker. I'm going to call him Cracker. You're going to be Cracker. Okay, sorry. I cannot consider. The leader's eyes flicked to companion. She does seem the type to catch an eye. His gaze drifted to Scylla's hair, then back to the face once more. Releasing her chin, the leader stepped back, rubbing his neck. I will consider your offer. You will live for tonight. Turning, he strolled away with long, lopping strides. Bind her. He barked over his shoulder. Scylla sucked in a breath and held out her hands for the golden man to restrain the length of the rope produced from the wagon. Don't get comfortable, Curls, he said with a scowl. The man bound her hand together tightly, she noted, with the long length dangling free in the end. The rope told me as much, she grumbled in reply, staggering after him as he tugged the free end. I cannot believe he's considering it, the man muttered. They reached the edge of the glade and he yanked her down, pushing her back against the twisting trunk of a tree. After securing the free length of a rope to a tree, the man squatted down, his face less than a foot from hers. His hand delved into his pocket, pulling out a silver disc and rubbing his thumb over as he watched her. Scylla was then able to look away as the full weight of the warrior's gaze settled on her face. His breath clouded between the air of them. You think you can climb into our wagon and we'll simply give you a free ride? I can help. The man clenched the talisman in his fist. That's not how this world works. You must earn your own way. I'm a hard worker. A line formed between his brows and he shook his head slowly. Axe eyes will come to his senses. He never agrees to let you live. The warrior stood in his full impressive height, then ambled off, leaving Scylla bound to the tree. She drew in a long breath, her heart thuddingly loud in her chest. Rallying cry, Scylla, she whispered to herself. You are still breathing. She could not think of anything else, but this moment was all that mattered. All right. Get yourself out of this one, girlfriend. Her hands bound to the linden tree, Scylla maneuvered her body to get clear view of the Blood Axe crew as they set up their camps for the night. The Golden Warrior had the fire built now. Bedrolls were arranged in the long grass of the glade. Crates pulled from the wagon and arranged near the flames. It had been entirely more straightforward than she could have imagined. After much deliberation, Scylla had spent 2 of her precious solas on the map of his drawer, and then spent the afternoon studying it. The road of bones ran due north from Reckford in a nearly straight line, passing through the thick forest of Sudra lands, then the barren Halidin of Istri lands, ending in a town by the name of Suktur. Then she hooked westward on a short stretch labeled Black Road before crossing the Hivit River to Copa. Don't forget your left at Albuquerque. To her surprise, there were numerous volcanoes labeled along the Black Road. Scylla had frowned as her finger traced the triangular volcano symbols drawn beside Copa. Surely it was a misprint. After studying the map in quietude of her quarters at the Owl's Hollow Inn, Scylla had crept to the mead hall adjacent. She'd eaten a barely edible bowl of fish stew and nursed a cup of mead. Her fingers had drummed the clay cup as she pondered her next step. Then the answer had fallen onto her lap, or crushed into her from behind. She had been beside herself with glee. A wagon headed directly past Copa, and the men had led her straight to the stables behind the Owl's Hollow Inn. Silva should have known it would be too easy to be good. She had not anticipated that she climbed into the supply wagon and the notorious Blood Axe crew, nor had they worked a job for King Ivar. As she listened to them discuss the job they were to accomplish in the Istri from under the wagon's cover, unease and settled in her stomach. Scylla pulled her lower lip between her teeth, and she considered the complication. They worked for the king. She'd never be able to trust them, but that seems the least of her worries right now. Revealing that she overheard the details of their job that had been an unexpected gamble, and now she feared it had sealed a grim fate for her. For the 100th time this day, Scylla chastised herself in rashly following the leader of this group, and the shorter resplendently man, okay, never seen that word before. Cool. Learning shit today. Resplendently dressed out of the stable. She should have done more research and waited for a better option. Should have lingered and learned the kind of warriors these were. It was too late now. Her hands were growing numb, her visions warped. She hadn't eaten or drunk for a full day. The woman in the black braid approached, the face stern but not unfriendly. She dropped onto a crouch and peered at Scylla. "What is your name?" "Dula." Dula is the term of endearment Scylla's mother had used, and it immediately put her at ease. Catrin. The lie dripped from her tongue smoothly. Scylla had so many different names at this point in her life, it was second nature to her. "I'm Hecla. You know who Illis is?" She gestured to the blonde man taking animately at the fire. "You know Sigrun. There's Gunnar, Ray, and Jonas." Scylla nodded as Hecla listed off the names, pointing to each individual. "Where are you from?" "Skarstad." "That's enough," Hecla ordered. The enormous man, Ray. "Not another word until I've decided her fate." Giving her water axe eyes, the woman called over her shoulder, "If you intend to kill her, do it honorably. The thirst is a poor death." Hecla muttered something under her breath as she put a water skin between Scylla's bound hand. Unable to get a grip on it, it tumbled to the grass. "Curse the wolf and his knots," muttered Hecla, working to loosen the strands of ropes. "Oh," moaned Scylla, as the blood flowed into her fingers. Hecla placed the water skin back into her hands, and Scylla raised it to her lips. "My thanks," grasped Scylla, as she nearly drained it empty. With the wordless nods, Hecla took the water skin and strode back to the group. Repositioned herself with the back to the tree, Scylla watched Sigrun run an iron tripod over the fire. She fitted it with a trammel hook, hanging the blackened pod over the flames, then tossed in several sausages, elk by the looks of them. It wasn't long before the distinctively burnt smell reached Scylla's nostrils, her stomach growling. All the same. Jonas and Ray emerged in the intense discussion about Scylla's offer, she assumed. Her gaze fell to Illis and Gunnar, huddled over the game of dice. Laughter burst from them, and then they grew quiet as they glanced her way. Hecla sat alone, staring blankly at the fire. As Scylla's eyes fell to the woman's hands, she realized that it was metal. Scylla watched Sigrun serve up the evening meal in wooden bowls, burnt sausage and plain bread. Gunnar bit his sausage and chewed, and chewed, and chewed. He swallowed was loud and heard the wet sound of it across the clearing. Nearby, Ray winced as his throat bobbed. It seemed as though he'd given up on chewing and swallowed all the same. A bubble of hope swelled inside Scylla. If they gave her a chance, they could eat like royalty. The summer sun was still up, but low in the sky, and a chill had settled in the air. Scylla's cloak was still on the ground, where Ray had discarded it while ruffling through her bag. She needed something to cover her tonight, or she'd risk freezing. A dull ache in her temples throbbing, her body responded was instinctive. Her insides braced against the immense pain, and her mind careened into the vial hanging around her neck. Leaves. Though she thought of them through the day, now that night had been settled, now that she'd been discovered, she could relax into their comfort. With great difficulty, Scylla worked her bound hands around the vial hanging from her neck. The smooth metal was reassuring tether to the old familiar amongst the frightening new surroundings. Flipping the stopper up, she used her teeth to grip one of the leaves and pull it in free before replacing the lid. Scylla chewed the bitter leaf. One more. Closing her eyes, she fought the impulse to grab. Stop taking a higher dosage, my girl! What are we doing? My guy! Thank you for the gifts. What is happening? Now is not the time to dull her. Thank you completely. Leaning against the tree trunk, Scylla waited for the scold to take effect. Shuk, shuk, shuk. Her lids flew open, her gaze colliding with the dark across her eyes of fire. Ray's eyes. What is happening? They watched her. She worked the blade from the head of her car. Okay, he's just sharpening a stone. Never mind. I thought we was about to do some nastiness. Just whetstone, causing the shiver to crawl down her spine. Shuk. That one would be pleasing to the eyes if he wasn't so mean, said the little blonde girl in the torn white dress beside Ray's enormous form. The girl traced a finger over Ray's shoulder. And he's huge. Scylla tried to control her breathing. Shh. This one is funny, the girl continued. She ain't... Squinting over Alicia's shoulder. I like him. Cheats at dice. Ghosty girl. Ghosty girl. Carol Ann, what are we doing? She moved towards Jonas, whose dagger dragged along the small piece of wood, shaping into something she could not discern. This one looks like a hero whose tale is recited by the Scads. The sign petted in the golden warrior's head. The girl leaned down, inhaling. Ooh, you're right, Scylla. He smells divine. Shh. Scylla's face heated, and she closed her eyes. When she opened them, the girl had settled on the ground beside her, folding her scrawny legs up, wrapping her arms around them. What is the purpose of you? Asked Scylla once more. She kept her voice soft so that it would not carry. To worsen my troubles. To drive me to madness? How will you convince them? Asked the girl, ignoring her question. I've done all I can. My faith rests in their hands. His hands. Shh. Her eyes flew back to a large man by the fire. Each pass of his blade across the wet stones seemed quite threat directed her way. What if he decides to kill you? Asked the girl, pushing the matted hair off her face. Then I've made a horrible mistake. The shadow fell across her body and Scylla flinched. Who do you speak to? No one, breathed Scylla, flushing. Just myself. She forced a smile to her lips, a silly habit. Hecla squatted down, handing Scylla a sack and a musty, scented fur. So you do not freeze to death, said Hecla in a low voice, a smile teasing her lips. My thanks, managed Scylla, as she pulled the cloak over herself, layering the fur on top. 2 strips of smoked elk fell to the ground. Her lips parted, her eyes darting to Hecla. Already, she was halfway to the fire. Silver reached for the smoked meat, and for the first time since her discovery in the wagon, she smiled. And that's where we end tonight. Wowzer. Okay. All right. Not as action-packed as last night, but we finally meet the motherfucking Blood Axe crew. I like the Blood Axe crew. They're people. They're pretty cool peoples. All right. All right. I like it. I'm liking it. Did Nika never make it tonight? She didn't get off of work in time? No. That's sad. That's sad. All right, well, y'all have earned some buttons. You think they said Blood Axe crew, right? I mean, we have they have to be a good group of people, because I tell you what, honestly, I think they said Blood Axe crew more in this book so far than Sarah J. Maas said the word like in her interview. I'm just saying. All right, you have made it through. Let's get you your round of buttons, and then we will get out of here for the evening, my friends. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Epic.
Rune Danon, Crown Prince of the Balbaran Fae.
We go live tomorrow? We go live tomorrow? You busy tomorrow? All right. I'm sorry, love? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. P saying 11 is pretty important, and it's my last request of a must read, meaning you could live it.
Book or ever.
Well, she's saying until 49 and 54. So, okay. Well, I tell you what, we have tomorrow will be easier because we're doing it's a leftover night for us. So, yes, we will be live tomorrow night for 11 to 15, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 11 to 15. Do we like that idea? Is everybody free for tomorrow? So that's going to be the plan. We will do that. We will go 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. As always, I will try to be here exactly then, but it'll be right around. Yeah, no, the time changed. We got dinner started late because it was still like daylight out. I was like, what is going on? We're working it. Absolutely. Listen, if y'all are at work, you can't make it. Trust me, we completely understand, and I get it. It's perfect. Okay, but really quick, tomorrow's the longest stretch. That's fine. I do have to say, well, if we can get all 5, we will. Okay, I do have to say, and this is just because we'll have to check it out, but this series not being as well known, and I hate to make this sound like I'm begging y'all for the support, but I don't want to. But I'm just looking at how the videos are going. I don't think they're getting as ticked. So I know y'all like and y'all comment. If y'all would like to, if we really want to get this out, y'all have to hit the share button on my videos. And they have to, hopefully the people will watch them and they'll share, or just hit the little, I know if you hit the repost, you're going to share all your friends with me, but these books are not very well read. I'm telling you, it's hard to see some people. I haven't seen many people talk about them, and all I've seen them say is this book is underrated. So I really want to get this book out there. So if we want to do that and y'all like it, I know y'all are doing so much, but hit that share button and send it out to people so that way we can get this. Because the story we're freaking 10 chapters in, and I mean, we got a badass crew. We've got like 50. It's pretty crazy. So I think this book definitely needs to get out there. But I'm just asking you for your shares and your likes. I don't want your monies. All right. With that being said, does anybody have anything for me tonight before we close it out? I've already recommended it. Yes, let's go. That's awesome. That is awesome. So tomorrow during the day, be on the lookout for my 6 through 10 review videos, and then join us tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we will get it on. Are y'all starting the last letter together sometime? Yes, but she still has to finish Kingdom of Ash, and then we'll figure that one out. But yeah, we are going to do that one together at some point. I don't know when. Do I have theories yet? The theories I have are she gonna end up in charge of the Blood Axe crew some way, somehow, or they're gonna be the badass mofos and they're gonna fucking run shop. That's my theory I have right now. Oh, thank you, DW, for the corgi, little corgi butt. I don't have a corgi butt, but I got a cat butt. I got a cat butt. That's about Bell. The only thing if I know y'all like and comment, but the series is not very popular. So for us to get it seen, we're gonna have to try to share the videos with some people. That was all that was the something to share at the end. And then also, if everybody notices Rune here, our printer's out of ink. We're going to print this new out so y'all can see some more details. So that is coming out. And then also, we did get Flat Daddy printed out. We're working on that, and we will get Flat Daddy Adventures started soon. I forgot to tell y'all about that. We got that done today. Flat Daddy's Adventures will be starting soon. All right. With that being said, we're going to give y'all one more button tour for the 75K with only mostly 16 of y'all here tonight. I think that's a new record. So one more tour. Hopefully Nika will show up before we get out of here so we can at least say hi. If not, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of adult ages.
I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby, but you keep running, saying what you gon' do to me, but I ain't seen nothing. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, baby, but you keep running, saying what you gon' do to me, but I ain't seen nothing.
What did that tell you? He says yes. I do my best, Belle. I do my best. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, on the way out, we give you the man, the myth, the legend, the Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae.
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae.
All right, folks, with that, we will see you tomorrow night. Have a great night, and we will see you then. Later, folks. I like that exit.